What is next for Aljamain Sterling? What to destroy Brian Ortega? What is next from? We're still going to fight the winner of Gene Silva versus Diego Lopez. Now, let's say Gene Silva beats Diego Lopez and he goes on to fight Aljamain Sterling. Well, I got Gene Silva winning this fight, but it's going to be a tough fight for Gene Silva since Aljamain Sterling is a great wrestler and grappler, but Gene Silva is a way better striker. He's younger, has swimmer speed and power. I can see Gene Silva landing some big shots on Aljamain Sterling and knocking him out. Gene Silva has a ton of power and Aljamain Sterling has a glass jaw. The only way Aljamain Sterling wins this fight is if he takes down Gene Silva, dominates on the ground, and takes it by decision, which is very possible since Aljamain Sterling is a way better wrestler. Now let's say Diego Lopez beats Gene Silva and he goes on to fight Aljamain Sterling. Well, I got Diego Lopez beating Aljamain Sterling for the same reason I got Gene Silva beating Aljamain Sterling. The only way Aljamain Sterling wins this fight is if he keeps the fight on the ground for the majority of the fight and takes it by decision, which is very possible since Aljamain Sterling is a way better wrestler.
Now let's talk about this fight with Brian Ortega, because honestly, what the fuck happened? First, Brian Ortega struggled to make weight and supposedly this dumbass fainted and he had to be hospitalized, and that's when the UFC came out and said that the co-main event was off until Aljamain Sterling agreed on a catch weight of 153 pounds. So right away, it was obvious that Brian Ortega was not going into this fight feeling 100% there, and that's why he got dominated for 5 rounds straight. And honestly, you could argue that this fight should have been canceled. So if I had Brian Ortega losing this fight even before he struggled to make weight, well then my prediction was definitely not going to change afterwards, because I truly believe that even if Brian Ortega didn't struggle to make weight and he actually fought at 145 pounds, he still would have lost very convincingly, because there's no denying that he's trash and he poses no threat to any of the top guys. So I believe it's over for Brian Ortega, because if it was clear that he was never going to get a title fight after losing to Diego Lopez, well then now that he just lost to Aljamain Sterling and showed that he might not be able to make 145 ever again, well then he's definitely never going to get a title shot. So unless Brian Ortega wants to fight complete bums who have no credibility, there's no reason for him to keep on fighting, because if he fights any good fighter, he's going to lose. And don't even think that it's a good idea for Brian Ortega to fight at 155, because his chin is gone and his striking is trash. So he will 100% get knocked out if he fights at lightweight. So in the end, Aljamain Sterling obviously got the job done like I expected, but the fact that he couldn't even finish Brian Ortega, who was struggling before the fight, is truly embarrassing, and it shows that he doesn't deserve to be next for the title. So another potential fight for Aljamain Sterling could be against Laurent Murphy if Laurent Murphy doesn't get offered a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. Now in this fight, if Aljamain Sterling doesn't take down Laurent Murphy and dominate him on the ground throughout the whole entire fight, he's going to get outlanded and he will lose to Laurent Murphy.